All right, I think I'm live. I think I'm live on all channels. So let's see. All right, IG's taking a little minute. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, I'm live on TikTok, YouTube, and IG. So, hey y'all. Hey Akitunde, what's up? Hey Terry. Y'all come on in here. We gonna get to talking. I'm live on multiple platforms right now. So we are on we are on TikTok, YouTube, and IG. So listen, I'm gonna be here for a good time, not a long time, but I want to talk to you guys about tax sales and land banks today. Hey, just fine. What's up, Rain? Hey y'all. Come on in here, tap the screen. Y'all know what to do. What's up, LOL? I don't know how to say your name, but hey there. So yeah, y'all come on in here. So we're gonna be talking tax sales and land banks. And if you are new here, I'm Antoinette. I'm a real estate investor, credit repair specialist, and business funding expert. So I have a very specific skill set, and I'm here to help you guys find out how to buy real estate under market value and hopefully sell at market value or potentially do some other sort of development with said properties. But if you guys have never invested in tax sales or haven't ever bought land, drop a one in the comments for me so I can know, hey, we got some newbies in the building. If you are a real estate investor or a realtor, drop a two in the comments for me so I can connect with you guys. But this is definitely a place to talk, share information, comment, ask questions. This is your time now to ask questions. Please do not be shy. Um, Let me see. I'm trying to see how to get to my chat. Okay, boom. Oh, so I have a YouTube comment. Thank you for the question. Have I ever flipped over the counter land trying to start with what I got? That's a very good question, Chris. So I like to focus on tax sales. That has been my bread and butter, to be honest. So with those tax sale properties, yes, I have flipped multiple tax deed vacant plots of land. Now I'm in Florida, so a lot of times people will ask like, "Hey, how does this work?" Or like, "Can I do this in my state?" The first thing that you need to determine if you are trying to invest in tax defaulted properties or if you are trying to invest in land banks. Well, let me start with this. If you're trying to invest in tax defaulted properties, you first have to determine whether your state sells tax liens, tax deeds, or redeemable deeds. What's up, Comfort Over Chaos? Hey Jimmy, hey Trini Flex, Acne Assassin, Trey Sexton. I probably said your name wrong, but what's up? Thank you, Cluster Prince on YouTube for the question. But yeah, my bread and butter is buying and selling dirt from tax sales. Okay. So if you are starting, if you just, hey, you starting from the very, very beginning, here's what I suggest you do. All right. Y'all listening? Y'all listening? Because when I first started, I didn't have a lot of money to start. I started off, I wasn't working and I had bad credit, all of the things, right? So I actually ended up getting a grant for one of my businesses. And because I got a grant for one of my businesses, I was able to use that grant money and I got a $10,000 grant. Now, some of you may be like, well, $10,000 is a whole lot of money, right? In the world of real estate, it can go very quickly. So I knew that I wasn't really looking for a house to buy from the tax sale. So what's up? I'm gonna say your name wrong. Faye Cal Debez. And then B Shaw, what's up? No, so B Show, this is a Q&A. You can ask about tax deeds, tax sales, or land banks. And I'm gonna get into land banks in just a second. Okay. Oh, IG, y'all can see the comments from YouTube. That's pretty cool. I'm using a new streaming software, so if y'all see me looking surprised or like looking all over the place, it's because I have three screens, okay? But over the counter can be like literally diamonds in the rough, gemstones, okay? And this is to answer your question, cluster price on YouTube. If you don't have a lot of money, I want you to look and consider land banks. Now, land banks exist in places where, hey, they have a lot of tax sales, they have a lot of inventory, but they don't have a lot of investors to come and buy up the property. So land banks can actually buy from tax sales, and they have special powers that allow them to clear title and to reduce and eliminate liens and give you a clear title. So a lot of times what the community and what the government wants from land banks is community oriented, and they want for the investors to come in and bring the property back up to speed so that they can start taxing it again. So if you are starting from like bare bones, you ain't got a lot to start with. Number one, you got to have an exit strategy. You can't just go out there and start by, like, just because the property is cheap doesn't mean that it's good, and doesn't mean that you will be able to flip it. You got to really have an exit strategy. I was just in a I was just teaching a class, and there were some investors in there. Thank you, B Show, I appreciate it. There were some investors in there. They were like, oh yeah, I got like 9 tax deeds. Now what? And it's like, I'm like, oh man, you got to consider that going into the investment, because you can buy the property. It's just kind of like you can go to the supermarket and you can buy a ton of food, right? But if you don't know what you're putting together, you don't have a recipe, you don't have anything in mind, that food might spoil. So you got to think about real estate the same way. You don't make money when you sell, you make money when you buy. You got to be able to buy right. And that's why tax sales and land banks are a great opportunity to buy way, way, way beneath market value. I'm talking 75%, sometimes 95% off of market value. So once you buy that low off of market value, now you have multiple different exit strategies. I'm gonna say your name wrong, Mr. Poi, but no, I am not AI. Look, I am not AI, no filters. So, what's up, Jasmine? What's up, Lawrence? Hey, Spencer. Hey, AS. What's up, my folks on TikTok? Y'all go ahead and like the screen, tap the screen for me. Y'all know how TikTok is. Tap the screen for me. Let's push this live out to as many people as possible. So TikTok will stop capping on me. But yes, if you have questions today, we are talking tax sales and land banks, and I'm also giving away a free land buying checklist. So if you want to grab that free land buying checklist, all you have to do is, if you are on TikTok, you're going to DM me land, and if you are on IG or YouTube, you're going to comment land. YouTube, I don't know if the automation is set for that, but if you comment land, I'll shoot you over the link. Or you can just go to redlotuschick.com and it's the second link. You can grab the free land buying checklist. But for those of you that are new here and don't know me from a can of paint, I'm Antoinette. I'm a real estate investor, credit repair specialist, and business funding expert. I have a very specific skill set. Very specific. And so I help people get real estate under market value. My niche is land, but I do fix and flips, wholesaling, group homes, all of the things. Real estate has allowed me to live life on my terms. We were able to retire our mom. When I say we, I mean my siblings and I. It's a family business at this point. So yeah, all of us do real estate and we have different strengths and things like that. I really love land, and I think land is a great option for people that are just beginning in real estate investing, because you don't have to deal with tenants, toilets, or termites. All right. So if you ask me what I'm doing and you tell me to describe it poorly, I'm going to tell you that I buy and sell dirt. Okay. But it has enabled me to be a full-time entrepreneur, live life on my terms, making multiple 6 figures a year. So that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. Please, please, please ask your questions in the comments. I want to know what you guys. So if you're new here, I just reintroduced myself. If you're new here, let me know. Drop a 1 in the comments for me. If you are returning, if you have invested before, if you're a realtor, if you are seasoned and you just kind of here to check me out, drop a 2 in the comments. Alpha 50 over. Did your question come through? Let me see. I may have missed it because I'm looking at multiple screens. Okay, so Alpha 50 over on TikTok says, with land banks, are there restrictions with buying low then selling for a quick profit? I'm in Georgia. So there could be restrictions. All land banks are a little different. So they will have on their site different programs, And a lot of times when you purchase from a land banks, they will have certain requirements that they want you to meet because it's more community oriented versus profit oriented. But sometimes they just want people that are going to buy the property and then kind of bring it up to speed. So there could be restrictions, but not all the time. So yeah, that's to answer your question. By the way, Jesus is coming back, so everyone please repent. God bless. God bless you too. So yeah, there could be restrictions with land banks, but at the same time, if everyone could go purchase property at market value, then you probably would do that, right? But these options are for people that are looking to get into real estate investing that maybe you don't have as much capital as you would like to have, but I don't want you guys to be discouraged by that to say that, hey, I can't buy real estate at all. You can buy real estate. You just have to be a little bit more strategic. Now, the other option that you have to like purchase real estate is to get your money up, right? Is to get more money. So in order to get more money, are you going to work hours for dollars to save up more money to then invest in real estate? Do you know how long it would take you to do that? I don't recommend it. I say that you should leverage your credit in order to get business funding to then go ahead and invest in real estate, because your credit is the thing that's going to help you to scale faster. And a lot of times I think we're very misinformed in the United States, and we think that our credit score is to help us buy our house and buy a car, and then you sit it behind some museum glass and just have it sitting there looking pretty, and you're working a job that you don't like. You haven't secured any kind of security for your future. You don't know what my retirement is going to look like, but you sitting on a 740, 780 credit score, and you have no idea what to do. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to that just don't have the vision. They just don't have the vision. Mind you, they're in a good position. I work with a lot of people that are entrepreneurs and corporate individuals that are high earners, and they are burnt out from corporate jobs. They're burnt out, they're tired, they want to spend more time with their family, they want to travel more, and they don't quite know how to do it. And I'm like, well, invest in real estate. Well, I know that's a very broad term. What does that mean to invest in real estate? Everybody says to invest in real estate. What kind of investments are we talking? Do you guys know that with tax lien certificates, let's just say you're a conservative investor, with tax lien certificates, this is not even where you take possession immediately. This is where you're going to be gaining interest on your certificate. With tax lien certificates, on average, you can see a return between 10 to 15% on average if you are not an aggressive investor, because a lot of states have penalty rates or annualized rates where they're giving you 10, 15, 25%, 36% per year to invest in tax lien certificates. And why is that? Because counties need the tax money. Now, I mentioned earlier in the live that I'm in Florida, and right now there's a big initiative that's going around where DeSantis is trying to get rid of property taxes. I personally, as a real estate investor, do not think this is a good idea for this particular plan, because they don't have a plan to replace the revenue. So I'm like, you can't just gut a whole system and not have a plan to replace it. They're just kind of like, hey, yeah, it'll be good for people. People will be able to save money, but they haven't really said how they're going to replace the revenue. And property taxes pay for schools, libraries, fire departments, all kind of municipal services. Sometimes they offer grants to different, low income housing areas. So if you cut property taxes, where is the revenue going to come from? And then they're also putting funny verbiage in the law. We have to vote on it in November, but they're also putting different verbiage in there that's like, oh yeah, but you still have to fund the police department and the fire department at the same rate next year, even though we're removing the revenue next year. So excuse me, sneeze. So yeah, so I don't think it's a good idea. I think it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more before we go cutting, like $36 billion from the budget. I just don't think it's a good idea. So to answer Alpha, so we have a question on TikTok. Alpha 50 over. If you were starting over today with only $2,500, what would be your 90-day plan to 5x or 10x your money? Great question. So with $2,500, I would definitely be looking at tax sales or land banks, and I would be analyzing markets where I could do quick flips. That that is still my that is still my go-to. But if I only had $2,500 to work with, the cheapest property I have personally ever purchased was $1,300. So I have purchased property as low as $1,300. In some land banks, you can get properties for even less than that. But just because you can get the property cheaper doesn't mean that you can necessarily flip it fast. So I would spend my time within the first 90 days analyzing markets and finding out which markets move fast and building a buyer's list so that when I do get the land, because it might be a little competitive to get land at $2,500, especially if you are in a tax sale and if you are in a market like Florida. Florida is a competitive market. We also have where most of our sales are online. So what that means is it's way more competition. So because it's way more competition, you just gotta sometimes, depending on what market you're in, you gotta have a bigger budget. There are still places where you can go and get property for $2,500. This is why I mentioned the land banks or over the counter, because you can get properties over the counter. Um, but sometimes you just have to sift through a lot of trash before you find one good property. And that's just the reality of the situation. When your budget gets smaller, you got to be a little bit more creative. So land banks will be a good way to leverage that $2,500. There are some places, like some markets like in Alabama, um, Michigan, where like whole houses are going for $1,000. Now you're gonna have to have the budget to rehab that, or you got to have a buyer's list that's gonna buy that property as is. So that's, again, I would analyze the markets to see where I can move the real estate the fastest, and then go all in. Go all in. And if I only had $2,500, I would definitely be looking to partner with someone as well. Possibly like, hey, maybe I do the work, they bring more revenue to the table. That is maybe something to consider as well. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would also look at foreclosure auctions too. I have a friend of mine. She taught me about her particular strategy. So one of the cool things about when you have a network of real estate investors, we can all leverage each other's skill sets. And like, hey, you're doing this and this is working for you right now. Show me how to do that. I'm gonna show you how to do this. And you know, she definitely taught me how to wholesale these bank owned properties as well. So yeah, I would just get to it. Get to work. Get to work. If you guys are finding, thank you, Brianna, for the likes. If you guys are finding value in this live, please tap the screen. If you are on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, still tap the screen. I'm pretty sure you get likes over there too. And YouTube. Tap the screen and also drop your questions in the chat. We're talking tax sales and land banks today. If you're interested in learning what I look for specifically when I'm looking for parcels of land, DM me on TikTok land. I'll shoot you over my free land buying checklist so that you know exactly what to look for, because over 70% of all tax defaulted property is land. Okay. Tax sales nationwide usually has over $36 billion worth of inventory. And then over 70% of that $36 billion is land. So it would be to your benefit to learn what to look for when buying land. And specifically, I like to target developers or like kind of contracted mom and pop builders to sell to. And I specifically like to look for infill lots so I can sell the properties to people that are looking to build on them. I have worked with the city of Tampa as well and started new construction for affordable housing. So there are so many different ways that you can leverage land. Like, if you buy land, because they're not making any more of it. Okay. The value of land is always going to be there, just like how real estate always appreciates, right? Land is always going to appreciate because they're not making any more of it. Thank you for the likes, business debt expert. I appreciate it. So yeah, let me know if you guys are new here. I am on, what's up, mobile home teacher Redona Willis, what's up? So I am on TikTok, IG, and YouTube right now, and we're talking tax sales and land banks, drop your questions in the comments for me so that I could help you guys get this real estate. If you're new here, let me know you're new here. Drop a one in the comments, send me some likes. But yeah, I'm Antoinette. I'm a real estate investor, credit repair specialist, and business funding expert. So I have a very specific skill set where I help people get real estate for under market value, sometimes up to 95% off of market value, by leveraging inventory that's already being sold by the government. So it's government backed inventory, and a lot of people just don't know about it. And I think that everybody should be considering investing in tax defaulted properties, especially in this market, especially during these times. Um, I think everybody needs to take it seriously to buy some real estate. Hey, Cash Buyer. Hey, Alexis. Hey, Monroe. What's up, guys? So yeah, as you come in, go ahead and tap the screen because TikTok is doing that thing where they're gonna suppress my live, but it's all good. And yeah, if you guys are interested and you want to know exactly what I look for when I'm buying these infill lots, and I'm looking to buy within the path, with what I call the path of development, which is like, hey, if you don't have a lot of money to start, are you going to want to invest in the heart of your big city, like in the big city? No, I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I do not invest in Miami, Florida, because I know what my pockets look like, and I do not have drug money. Okay. I'm gonna just be real. I also don't have oil money, not at this current point in time. Um so yeah, I go where I could get more bang for my buck, and I do invest primarily in Florida. I have some properties in Indiana and Illinois as well. Do you need to be an expert in all 50 states? No, you don't have to be an expert in all 50 states, but you do have to know what to look for to help you to be a successful investor when it comes to these tax defaulted properties and or land banks. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you know how to invest in real estate and you know how to analyze a deal or analyze a market, most likely you will be successful at this business, right? But I find that I cannot tell you how many realtors I've spoken to, and they're like, they don't even know how to run comps. And I'm like, why don't you know how to run comps? You're a realtor. But apparently they didn't teach them that. So, or they just might have been like a super new realtor, or they're used to like, software machine doing it for them. So they don't know how to run the comps themselves. But all of this is just market analysis and pretty much underwriting, what they call underwriting your deal, which is understanding your numbers, understanding the risk that's assessed with this particular investment. So at the end of the day, you have an option to make the best decision that you can, right? Because you're never going to know everything, especially with these tax deed properties. Like, you're never going to know everything. I always say that the money is in the problem solving. If you're able to problem solve, and if you are committed to finding the answer, right, then most likely you'll be successful, because the money is in the problem solving. So at the end of the day, be committed to going through that process. Um you can't skip the grind. You can't skip it. So that's a part of, I want to say, like, the mindset and the attitude that you have to have going into this process. But that attitude is going to take you so far. So far. It's like the one thing that I say for real estate investors, like, what's the biggest thing that you gotta like have to be successful in the business? And it's like, you gotta have some audacity. You gotta have some audacity. You gotta be willing to see that thing through. you know, because I always tell my mentees, have a plan A, B, and C. Because sometimes the one thing that is constant in life is change, right? So things are gonna change. The market's gonna shift. Trump's gonna make a tweet. There's a war. You can't control any of those things, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't let those things stop you from investing, because you don't have control over those things. Hey, Simply Fab. Hey, Baby Lisa. What's up, J King? So yeah, you don't have control over those things, but you can't let those things stop you from getting started in investing. The more you educate yourself and the more you're willing to take action, you're going to get the confirmation and the information that you need as you put one foot in front of the other. So when I hear people say that they can't invest in real estate because real estate is too expensive, I'm like screaming at the screen as if we were watching a scary movie and you see the killer right behind them. I'm like, do tax sales, invest in tax lien certificates, look for land banks, Like, there are options for people who want to get started in real estate and they don't have a lot of capital to start. And just because I say, hey, look for land banks, doesn't mean that there's only land on the land banks, because you can buy properties off of the land bank as well. In different cities, you can buy properties from the land banks. That means that, and I say this all the time, there is not a shortage of housing. There is not a shortage of housing. There are enough vacant houses in the United States to remedy homelessness nationwide. There's not a shortage of housing. There's a shortage of affordable housing. Okay, there might be a shortage of of fixed up housing, but there is not a shortage of housing. There are so many properties sitting vacant that may have gone to tax sales, maybe have owned by a company. We don't know why properties become tax defaulted. Maybe the business went out of business and they couldn't pay the taxes. Now the property's on the tax sale. Not all properties that are on the tax sale are in poor condition either. Like, they sell condos and townhouses in the tax sale. Some of them are in HOAs. HOAs are typically known for keeping their properties, keeping their properties up. So sometimes you're able to score a really good deal under market value and then immediately go and maybe possibly rent out the property or turn it into an Airbnb, depending on the location, or turn it into a group home. They even sell mobile homes in tax sales. So it really just depends. But if a person really wanted to get into real estate, I've had some of my mentees purchase properties for as low as $100. $100. Now, the cheapest I have personally ever purchased property for was $1,300. Hey, the dark horse, what's up? Long time no see. So yeah, the cheapest I have personally ever purchased property for was $1,300. But some of my mentees have purchased properties for as little as $100 a pop. I mean, just went to the tax sale and cleaned up 23 properties for around $3,500. Okay. And then they were able to sell one of those plots of land, just, going through the process. They were able to sell that property, and they sold it for $14,000, ended up making $11,000 on a $100 investment. The dark horse, you said you sent me a DM. Was it recently? The DMs kind of go crazy. You said to the email. Oh, okay, to the email. Okay, cool. I won't check emails now. I thought you said DMs. So yeah, she was able to get multiple properties for around $100, and then she was able to sell one for $14,000, profiting $11,000 from her $100 investment. I've had mentees pick up properties for $2,500. Oh, it's for the one-on-one class? Okay. I'll check it. So yeah, I've had mentees purchase properties for $2,500. It really just depends on what market you are investing in. And so, you have options. So let me know, where you guys looking to invest in? Where you guys currently located, or where do you want to invest? Drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're looking to invest. I'm in Florida. Hey Joe, Miss Benz, what's up? Yeah, I'm in Florida. I primarily invest in Florida. Okay, so Brianna says Missouri. Let me pull up my tax deed map real quick. I think Missouri is a tax lien certificate state. I think. Yep, it's tax lien certificates. I just got one person who want to invest. So Missouri is a tax lien certificate state. Florida is a hybrid state, so we do liens and deeds. What does that mean? So in the state of Missouri, they sell tax lien certificates, meaning that when they host their tax sales, that what they are selling is a tax lien certificate. I'm not sure what their interest rates are, But all you need to do to find that is just to go to whatever county, right? Because tax sales happen on a county level. So you're going to go to the county and then you're going to look for their tax sales. They may have a certain time of year. They may have them multiple times a year. In Florida, they have tax sales like once a month in these counties because a lot of counties have a lot of inventory. So at any given point in time, I can go and invest in properties. And sometimes I'm in multiple sales at a time, and multiple auctions at a time, bidding on multiple properties, which is why I have multiple screens. But yeah, it just means that when you go to their tax sale, you will be bidding on the tax lien certificate. And with tax lien certificates, you don't get immediate ownership right away. It takes some time, and every state has a different, what they call redemption period, in order for you to take possession of the property. Now, where tax lien certificates shine is that typically they offer you very high interest rates. So, anybody in here got a high yield savings account? Raise your hand in the comments your high yield savings account if you have a high yield savings account, because high yield savings accounts typically give you maybe 3% up to maybe 5%. 5% if it's real sexy, if they're being really competitive. But if you invest your own money in tax lien certificates, on average you would probably be seeing between 10 to 15% interest on your money. And who wants to guess who the largest investor of tax lien certificates is? Who wants to guess? Anybody who's been on my lives before, they know the answer to this question because I say it all the time. But who, which entity is the largest investor of tax lien certificates? Guess. Y'all drop your answer in the comments. What's up, Mama Prada? Drop your answer in the comments if you know. If you don't know, just say you don't know. But who is the largest investor? Redeem. So it's very passive investing, but it gives you a high percentage return rate on your money. And if you're working with millions, sometimes billions of dollars, and you're seeing 10 to 15% for nothing, like you're not doing anything. In Florida, the interest rate is 18%. It's 18%. So if you invest in tax lien certificates in Florida, you can see up to 18% per year. And we have a 3-year redemption period. So you're going to be getting 18% every year. Now, what happens if somebody doesn't redeem? Like if the property owner doesn't pay their back taxes? Who wants to guess? Who wants to guess what happens if you buy a tax lien certificate and the owner doesn't pay the back taxes? You get the land. Yeah, you could take right, that's yours. So yeah, you get to take possession of the property. Now, what that process looks like is going to vary based off of where you're at. Okay, everybody has a different, what is known as a foreclosure process. Every state has a different foreclosure process or process to take possession of the property. But what happens, right? You get to take possession of the property and you've paid the back taxes maybe for 2 years, maybe for 3 years, but now you have the property and you have all of the equity. You are now entitled to all of the equity and all of the value of said property. So what does that look like, right? And I like to focus on land again. With land is typically under assessed for property taxes. Do y'all know what I mean by that? It's typically underassessed for property taxes. Take a guess at what I mean. Drop it in the comments. What do you think I mean when I say land is underassessed when it comes to property taxes? Hey, Kipi Ohana, what's up on IG? What I mean by underassessed for property value for property taxes is that typically you pay the county is going to charge less taxes on raw land because it hasn't been developed, right? So typically property taxes on bare land is much cheaper than the property taxes on a property. And when I say assessed value, under assessed, the county has their own metrics by, they say, hey, this property may be worth this amount, right? They think the property is worth this amount. So if you ever go to like a property assessor site, they may say the land value or the property value, the just in value, the market value. They're going to have their own numbers. But who determines the market value? The people buying the properties. Hey, Autism Mom Influencer, what's up? The people buying the properties, the market value is constantly changing. The county assessor, they're not realtors, they're not real estate investors, they're not marketers, they're not wholesalers. They don't care about none of that stuff. They only want for the property taxes to be paid. Okay. So a lot of times they do not have the wherewithal, the resources, the expertise to market and sell these properties, nor do they fully understand or tax the full market value of said properties. So, what does that mean for you? What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that you can take advantage of a system that is already in place. You don't have to do no marketing. You don't have to do no cold calling. You don't have to do none of that stuff. Okay. All you got to do is show up to the auctions that are already taking place and that are state mandated and written into state law. Okay. All you got to do is get you some information, education, and get you some audacity and some money and show up to these sales. Thank you, the MIGs. Buy low, sell high, or buy low, refinance, take the equity out. Okay. It creates the opportunity for people who don't have a lot of capital, or maybe you do have a lot of capital and you just want to get more bang for your buck, right? If you can then invest in these systems, these processes that are already in place, they're already having these sales. They're already marketing the property because they put them up and they say, hey, we're having this sale. And sometimes, depending on where you're at and how competitive the market is, it's only a couple of people that you got to bid against. But there might be hundreds of properties on the list. A lot of times they don't have enough investors to buy all of the properties that are tax defaulted. Now, typically, tax sales, there will be more properties in low income areas than high income areas because hello, people in high income areas can afford to pay their property taxes. Thank you for the likes. Craig, I think it's Craig. I can't see who's liking, but thank you for the likes. Y'all tap the screen for me. People in higher income areas can afford to pay their property taxes, but you want to know a dirty little secret too? They actually tax higher income neighborhoods at a lower rate than lower income neighborhoods. I'm making a YouTube video on this. It's an unfair system. Okay. I'm just telling y'all like it is. I don't make the rules. I'm just letting you know what the rules are so we can learn how to play the game for real, because clearly these games are not set up for us to win. For us to win. They're not set up for us to win. So now that we know that we are not playing by a fair set of rules, okay, we still ain't get our 40 acres and a mule. Baby, go buy it. You can go buy it. It's okay. They're not going to give it to us. We can go buy it. Okay. So now we understand that with tax sales, we are able to buy these properties and don't think that I like to focus on infill lots. That's my bread and butter. But there are acres for sale. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in other counties, other states, because sometimes I'll have people test me and I'm like, I've been doing this for years. So there's not a tax sale, land bank list. There's no information that I can't find, which is why I say that you don't have to be an expert in all 50 states. You just need to know what you're looking for. Okay. So I'll have people text me, like, I'll be like, hey, give me a give me a county, let me find a list. I'll tell you exactly when they sales happening, how much you got to put down, X, Y, and Z, right? So I will do that in some of my lives. I don't have my other screen up today, but yeah, in some of these sales, they will have all of this property for sale, and sometimes you can see how many people are registered, and they might have 800 properties and they might have 20 people registered. 20 people might be attending the sale, maybe 50 people might be attending the sale, but you don't know what those 50 people's buying parameters are. So don't just assume. And sometimes I go and I see acres for sale. So in Florida, I don't see a lot of big parcels of land for sale like that, especially not in places where they're closer to the city, maybe in more rural Florida. But when I go out of state, like Illinois, I literally was looking at like 14 acres, 25 acres, 9 acres for sale, open and bid, $2,500. What? What? My mind sometimes is blown by like how cheap the real estate is in other states. Cause I'm like, dang, boy, I'm not gonna lie, Florida has me spoiled. I am a little spoiled. Yeah, I don't have to go nowhere to buy these properties. I be sitting right here at my desk, three screens going. I got my software going. I'm analyzing. I do my own title searches. I teach you guys how to do your own title searches, so you don't have to pay for a bunch of title searches. I give you guys resources for doing boots on the ground. How do you analyze deals? All the things, right? My banking systems are already set up so that, baby, I'm gonna just wire you. Just give me the routing. I don't have to leave the comfort of my office, of my home, to buy real estate. And then I wait for them to send me the deed in the mail. Let me see if I deed literally says tax certificate number 7300 issued on 601 2018 was filed in the office of the tax collector of Sarasota County. An application was made. It describes the entire process. It says the notice of sale was posted, the cost, the blah, 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 and then it was offered for sale. It was sold to whose address is, and then it describes the legal property, and then you have the clerk of court signature. This piece of paper right here is your legal ownership. This is your deed. Okay, this is your legal ownership, so you can take this anywhere. This is a legal document. The Migs, I'm gonna you said that you emailed me or text me. Please DM me so I can remember your email address, because I get a lot of messages. But yeah, we can set up the one-on-one. We can set up the one-on-one, because I always say that, like, you know how these are, that one-on-one is the equivalent of like 200 hours of these lives. Because we get to solve your problem specifically. I've opened up my calendar. What Miguel is talking about is I've opened up my calendar to take on about 2 people a week. I'm not gonna do more than 2 people. 2 people a week to coach them one-on-one for 5 days. Um at a very reasonable price, I think. Very reasonable. Because anyone who has ever been in my long-term mentorship or coaching programs, they know they know what the price point is. It's a 5-figure investment. Okay. So I think that with this new opportunity, and also being able to meet with me one-on-one, is definitely like a bonus. Just imagine it like concentrated coaching to answer your problem. And so we go over all of the things within your 5 days to give you your specific strategy. We may be able to acquire property within those 5 days. You have very specific homework, again, tailored to you, your state, your process, your specifics. So if you're interested in that, just message me, say like, hey, I'm interested in a one-on-one. Again, I'm only taking 2 people a week. And so, yeah, I'm not going to open up my calendar for everyone because, again, this is more so like, I want to say curated. I call it white glove service. I call it white glove service because I find that there's so much information online, but it's general information. And sometimes you need more than general information. And the thing that's stopping people from taking action is because sometimes the information doesn't apply to them, or they don't know how to apply that information to them and their specific situation. So we got the land bank guide, or what did you get in the comments? Remind me. Because I just put out a land bank guide that has, you said you got both. Okay, and the workshop. So yeah, I recently this is why I'm gonna tell y'all how AI failed me. Hey Tanya, what's up? Hey, all is well, just doing my due. You see me. So yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all how AI failed me, because a lot of people think, um great, you say the workshop helps you to understand all the concepts. Exactly. And I find that people don't take action because they don't understand. And half of the time I'm trying to connect the dots for y'all so that y'all like get it and get it good. I always say, like, once you get it and you got it good, you'll understand, like you'll be able to move. But back to how AI failed me. So I'm over here. I had this list for years, right? And I was like, well, let me update it and whatever. So I throw it in I throw it in Gemini, Chat GPT, whatever. And I was just like, yeah, like, let me know if this is an updated list. And and I said, if it's not updated, update it for me. I'm thinking I'm asking the AI for something simple. When I tell you, the thing told me, no, this is not an updated list. As a matter of fact, there are over 300 new land banks, blah blah blah. And then I said, okay, well, give them to me. When I tell you, it would not give me the links. It didn't matter how I prompted it, it would not give it to me. And I tried so many times until eventually, do you know what I did? I turned my hyper focus on, and I sat down for 2.5 hours, and I went through and I updated every single last link on that land buying guide, because I didn't want for people to be clicking on it and getting old links or getting error messages and stuff like that. So I had to still go through it, over 200 different links manually, and update all of the links. And I was like, see, this is why people think, oh yeah, but AI can do it. No, half the time you prompt in AI and it's giving you the wrong answers. And I want y'all to know that AI just finds information on the internet faster. And the number one source for Chat GPT is Reddit. So basically, it's finding the wrong information for you faster. You still have to double check AI. You still have to double check it. It's not a fail safe. So yeah, I had to go through and build out that land bank guide. So yes, all of the things, all of the links on that land bank guide have been updated. I added a bunch of new links. I went through and sourced all of it. So thank God for ADHD and hyper focus, because I was able to get that done in 2.5 hours in one night. And I was just like, I am not going to sleep. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I went to sleep, because I had started it, and I have this thing where if I started it, like, I just gotta finish it. It doesn't matter if it's awful. I gotta finish it. It's a tick. It's a tick. It's a thing that I got. I gotta finish it. So yeah, that land bank guide and workshop, I just made that. Okay, I just did it. It's not old. It's not something that I used to teach on 3 years. It's brand spanking new. So you can get the free land buying guide, the checklist, you can get the land bank guide, and you can get a workshop, all at redlotuschick.com. And if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, I'm taking on a small group of people. How about doing my own live? What is going on? That is so weird. Um, but yeah, so I'm only working with people that are serious about getting action quickly. That's it. I'm not pulling no strings. I'm not dragging nobody to greatness. Like, you either, and if you can't do the one-on-one for the 5 days, I do offer group 5-day coaching programs. The last one I did was in April. I don't have a date for the new one. So, just stay in the fold. And then, like, I have a free community. I can let you guys know when I'm doing another live group coaching challenge. But a lot of things that I do is live. And I like to give you guys up to date information. Even if it's a course, I like to update the course when I find out new things. Like, I have a course on how to buy mobile homes through tax sales. I usually don't even offer that for sale because I only give that to my mentees. It's certain things that I will only give to my mentees. And I just, that's just what it is. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm just gonna tell y'all the truth. So anyway, any questions? I'm gonna wrap it up. We're running on 1 hour, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Do you guys have any questions about land buying, land banks, tax sales? Let me know which state you guys want to invest in. I could pull it up to see if you are in a tax deed or a tax lien state or a redeemable deed state and break that down for you. Mirror Men Global on IG. How much is one-on-one? So the one-on-one right now is $9.95, so $1,000. And I know that might make you go, ooh, right? But I'm gonna let you know now, it's way cheaper than my group coaching. It is way cheaper than my group coaching. So you definitely get your money's worth on the one-on-ones. I sit with you. I'm on your schedule. We will go over your personal credit plan, build out your business funding. You say you're in Texas. Okay, Mirror Men Global, go ahead and DM me and I can send you the link. Or actually, the actual link is on redlotuschick.com. So you can sign up. And once you sign up, I will get with you and get your schedule. I like for the days to be consecutive days, but if you can't make consecutive days, we can work with the schedule. Okay. And by the way, Texas is a redeemable deed state. I've had mentees in Texas that do very well. Texas is also a non-disclosure state, so they can be a little tricky. You definitely want to get in the space where you can learn their process. But Texas offers one of the highest penalty rates in the nation. Okay, Big Texas gonna hit you for the 25%. So that means that if somebody redeems your property, which, to be honest, it doesn't happen very often, because if you didn't have the money to pay your taxes in the first place, you probably don't have the money with the 25% penalty rate. The penalty rate, what I mean by penalty is, if you buy that redeemable deed on Tuesday and they come back and they find that money on Wednesday to pay their back taxes, they got to pay the 25%. They got to pay the 20. So it don't matter if it happens on day one or a year from now. And Texas also has a shorter redemption period depending on the property. So it could be as little as 6 months. You're getting 25% on your money, which is insane. Insane. But yeah, let's talk Mirror Men Global. Let's talk on the one-on-one. Be sure to DM me so I can remember. Yeah, you because Texas is only tricky because it's a non-disclosure state. And what I mean by non-disclosure state is that get with me in the DMs, Mirror Men Global. Let's chat in the DMs, and so I'll be able to answer your questions, because I'm about to wrap up the live. And yeah, Texas is a little tricky. I still have mentees in Texas. And one of my mentees was able to get his first property, and I have this whole video where he's like walking me through step by step. Okay, this is what happened, and this is happening, and this happened. And I was waiting for his video updates like a soap opera. I was like, okay, and then what? So Texas can be a little bit more difficult because they don't post what properties sell for. So when I say non-disclosure states, there are some states where Normally this information, like if you go to Zillow, you can see, hey, this house sold for, $50,000, right? But in Texas, they don't tell you what it sold for. They won't tell you what it eventually. Now in Texas, you can still see what the property was listed at, what it went pending for, but they won't tell you what it sold for, which can just make things just a little bit more inconvenient, because in Florida, like I said, Florida, everything's open. Like I can find everything that I'm looking for in Florida, but it's ways to get around it. So, that's what we'll talk about online. Just make sure that you text me one-on-one so I can respond to you. um but yeah, any other questions? I have about 4 more minutes here. If you guys have enjoyed this live, please be sure to follow me. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification button. I will be posting a lot more content. I will be reposting this live on my YouTube channel. So if there's something that you felt like, hey, I kind of missed this, or what were you talking about, I will be reposting my lives on YouTube from now on. I think because I streamed this on live, it will stay on YouTube. So that's my thought process. Hopefully, I don't have to repost this, but I think it should stay on YouTube since I streamed it live from YouTube. But I will be posting a ton more content. I am here for you to answer you guys this question. There's a lot of information out here, but if you genuinely know that you're a person who is not lacking for information, which I find a lot of people, you're not lacking information. You are struggling with implementation, and that could be for a number of reasons. Okay. So if you know that you are struggling with implementation, or if you know that you're the type of person that's like, hey, I just want somebody to walk me through it one time, get with me. 9 times out of 10, I have something for you where I can walk you through the process at least one time to get your feet wet. Because I promise you, once you do it once, you can run it up again. Once you buy a property once, you can run it up again. I promise you, that's all I've been doing. Once I did it once, then I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna do that again. And mind you, my second deal dragged me. It absolutely dragged me. Okay, it dragged me. It took me like 6 months to get up out of my second deal. But after that dragging, after that beatdown, baby, I came back swinging. I came back swinging it, and I came back with new skills, new understanding, and I was a bad mama jamma ever since then. Okay, so sometimes y'all want to avoid the hard things, but I'm telling you, the hard things is what makes you great. Don't be afraid of, don't be afraid. Like I said, the money is in the problem solving. If you go into it thinking like, I'm gonna figure this out, you gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. And there's no, to me, I don't believe in losses. Like, you gonna learn a lesson. Maybe it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to work out, but you're gonna leave here with something. You're gonna leave here with some new skills. You're gonna leave here with some new networks. You're gonna leave here understanding something better. So it's never really a loss. Yeah, you may have lost money. I've never personally lost money on a deal, but technically speaking, time is money. So the longer it takes you to get out of deal, technically speaking, you're losing money, right? But you're not actually losing money. And it really just depends on, like, again, what your overall exit strategy is, because my working model is like a wholesale kind of strategy. So I want to try to sell it within 90 days. Okay. But that may not be possible for everyone in every state. So you need to have your own strategy based off of what type of investor you are. Okay. I know that it sounds sexy. Everybody on the internet, like, you should do this, you should do that. But everything don't work for everybody. I'm a firm believer in that. If you know that you are not a high risk taking investor, but you want to invest in real estate, listen, you got options, and you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. That's what I think is missing when it comes to these coaching programs and these digital products and stuff like that. Not everything works for everyone, and there are different types of learners. Some people are self-starters, and you can get some information and try it yourself. Some people are analyzers, and they're going to analyze and educate themselves, but then they won't take action. You know what I'm saying? And you got to know how to speak to both of those people. And I really feel like I shine in that area. I understand how to get people to their next level. So, and that transformation is something that really, honestly, you can't put a price tag on. Like, if you ask someone, how much is your life worth? anybody and everyone would say, my life is priceless. A life is priceless, right? But then when it comes to the question of how much are you willing to pay or what are you willing to do to become the best version of you, to live your best life, your best priceless life, people will flinch and be like, oh, is it too much money? Is it really too much? Is it too much for you to become the best version of yourself? I don't think, if you think about it like that, and then if you think about how much money, if you knew that the best version of you is making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month doing real estate, if you knew that, if you believe that now, that means that every second that you delay getting to that version of you, you're actually losing $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 because there is a cost for inaction. There is a cost for not taking action. So I just want you guys to understand that when you think about coaching or mentorship, I want you guys to think about it not in terms of like, yes, everybody, there are a lot of coaches, there are a lot of educators and stuff like that. I want you guys to be intentional about who you share your space with. We've detected inactivity, complete the verification. Oh, TikTok is telling me I have to verify myself. So let me verify myself. Oh, hold on. They didn't cut me off. Okay, I'm back. um Mirror Men Global on IG said some said Florida is expensive. How Florida, it depends on, Florida is a more expensive market. I'm not gonna mince my words there. It's not as expensive as like California or New York, but to someone from California, Florida may not be expensive. Now, to somebody from Alabama, Florida will be expensive. So it really just depends. There are some markets in Florida, like if you're in the Orlando, Miami, Broward, Tampa Bay, city of Jacksonville area, then yeah, those are going to be more expensive markets because those are the bigger cities in Florida. But then there are some other micro markets in Florida that are less expensive, but they still have good traction, and they're building all around Florida. Okay, they're just building everywhere in Florida. It don't matter if them houses are sitting vacant, the developers are still building. It don't matter if they say Florida gonna be underwater in the next 2 years, they still buying land and they still building. So I guess we gonna be Atlantis around this thing. And until they stop buying, until they stop buying land, that's when I'll stop selling no land. Until then, it is what it is. Okay, baby, when the aliens come, the aliens are already here. They like, we gotta still pay rent. Listen, until somebody beam me up or until this thing sink, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. So yeah, like I said, if you guys are interested in being in a space where you can be poured into and not just on some not just on some like, oh, I'm just gonna give you information and then leave you to figure it out on your own. Like, it's different levels for different folks, right? So, depending on how you learn and what resources you need, I'm pretty sure we have something for everyone. We have 5-day coaching. Many times that by the time I filed my taxes, they was like, "You owe us money." I said, "What you mean I owe you money?" I owe you money? I was always a refund girl, and I didn't know what they was talking about. I owe you money? I've been trying to catch up ever since. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. I've been trying to catch up ever since. the first year I've been owing Uncle Sam, I have a bookkeeper and a CPA now, but I don't know. I still be, yeah, my taxes is not my calling. I'm gonna just say it like that. Taxes is not my calling. If y'all wanted, I'd be like, talk to the tax professional. Taxes is not my calling. I can tell you exactly why I messed up. I'm be like, don't do what I did, because this is what I did. Don't do that. Don't do that. Um, that's the best problem to have, girl. You may, yeah. It is, and it isn't. But I would take these problems over the other problems any day, any day. I ain't even really complaining like that for real, you know. I just realized when they say new levels, new devils, that is very true, because ain't nobody told me nothing. I really love how sometimes the finance gurus, they really sell it to you like, oh, you should have known that. No, unless you had somebody to teach you, most likely you would not have known that. I was a marketing and advertising major in college, sweetheart. I did not come out of college with a finance or a business degree. So guess what? I figured that out in real life. Okay? In real life. So that's what I got. And I don't teach things that are hypothetical. I teach things that I know, that I have done, that I have experience in. If you don't hear me talking about something personally, it's because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not the expert on that. I don't like to teach on things that I don't know about. That's just my thing. I know other people do it. I'm not gonna teach you stuff that I have no idea about. That's not my MO. I want to tell you things that I have actually done, or am doing, right? So that I can have that real experience to teach you guys from, because you can't fake experience. Like, you can Google a lot of things. You can't Google experience. This is just some things is not going to get right. And that's really, you are paying for learning from other people's mistakes, which honestly, mistakes can be very costly. They can be very costly. And thank God I was able to navigate all of my hardships because I had a good network. So when I tell you guys, get you some real estate, get you a network, start having different kind of conversations. It's important that you do that, because it will um impact how fast and how far you go in this field. Okay. I'm gonna wrap it up with that. Any questions, hit me in the DM. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I will be going live more often. Put your notification bell on so that you get the notification of when I'm live. I'm gonna try to put up a calendar, but I'm not gonna hold you. Sometimes I just go on when I feel like going on. But but it's usually in the evenings when I go live. So be sure to follow me, hit that notification bell so that